they'll build the Beis Hamikdash Ashlishi. There's going to be eight things there. And also 8 is a very high number without going into all the details now about that. It's indicatory of the Gilui of Mashiach. And that's it, the Neros live on forever. Mashiach, the Korbanos, they did see. So we do have certain things that we do. Zeichat to the Korbanos. For example, our davening, the Zeichat to the Korbanos. And there's all sorts of things which we do in a way which are connected with certain things in the Korbanos. But they're not the actual doing of the Korban. The Neros Chanukah, says the Ramban, are the actual doing. They're like mamish, a continuation of Neros with Shem and Zayas, Mitals, exactly bedugma to the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. And therefore, the Neros of the Beis Hamikdash, as it were, live on forever. Oh, when Aaron heard that, and he's going to be connected with the, so it's ki'ilu that the avodah of Aaron HaKohen lives on. He's going to be, as it were, reinstating his avodah, even though he may not be here, mamish b'golui, itanu. And therefore, in some above, in other places, the Siddur is marich a bigger riches at a pool of Aaron HaKohen in the whole inner of our avodas Hashem, his lighting of the neros of the menorah and all that, a bigger riches about it. And in the Kutei Torah, the old Rebbe, in the Kutei Torah, it's got a big in how the whole personal aspect of Aaron HaKohen. Now, this is benoised to the fact that this portion here, where the menorah is only said to Aaron HaKohen, which you must say to Aaron. And therefore, the Midrash Tanchuma is a very amazing word Rashi also doesn't bring. The Midrash Tanchuma says that's what's written kilo a double lashon. Vayidaba Shem el Moshe Leima daber el Aaron v'omato elo. There's two things. Daber el Aaron v'omato. It's a double expression. Daber is like telling Aaron the whole greatness of the menorah. It's like preparing him and taking away his pain. And then Amato Elo, certain details in reference to the menorah, but they're also going to live on, but they're already the details of what he's got to do. I'm sorry, that's Amato Elo. Daper, that's like prepare him and build him, as they state Mafurish in the Medrash Tanchuma. Also Rashi doesn't bring that. However, the great Mephoshim, apart from Rashi, they built on it, and they say that this was like a big Indian that the Eibusha told Aaron and informed him and made him aware of, and then went into the details of what he should do. Oh, but this is Aaron HaKohen, and they even want to say that as long as Aaron was alive, even though the menorah was kosher to be lit by another Kohen, loved by Aaron, that all of his days Aaron did his best to make sure that he would light the menorah every day. That the menorah and Aaron HaKohen got a big connection together, and that Aaron had a tremendous ishtadlus when it came to the lighting of the menorah, a tremendous personal effort that he made. He would always light the menorah. He has Kohen Gadol, and he is the leader of his family at that time. He would always light the menorah. It follows that if we're going to say that those neiros live on, then Aaron was the one who put all this unbelievable input into the mitzvah of the neiros, and that lives on with them together. Adkan, that's the shitta of the Ramban. And many of the great Meforshim deal in a similar way with that principle of the Ramban. And they say that the Neros live on forever, despite the Golas, and despite the Choshech, and despite all those terrible inyanim that have happened in the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And the Medrash Rav at the beginning, the Tanchuma and the Medrash Rav particularly, before they get into this whole story with Aaron, they bring a pasuk in Tilim and other inyanim, with which they say that the mitzvah, the Neres, is like a promise of the Gul of Melech HaMashiach. And they say that if you will guard my light, the Rebbe brought this down when they get to Ner Shabbat. A very similar thing is written by the menorah. If you will be mishtadel with the menorah, it's called Ner. I will bring Melech HaMashiach that he's all called Ner. It's written Vorachti Ner LaMashichi. It's a pasuk. The Mashiach is called a light, like a candle of the world. So if you will, this is the medrash. If you will put ever into the menorah, then I will bring Melech HaMashiach. And the darkness, then it brings a pasuk that the darkness can't cover over from the Eibishter. That no matter how dark it is, the Eibishter is not affected by darkness. The difference between darkness and light is not really sharp by Hashem. That is hidden in the menorah. The menorah's power is that it can light up even where there's darkness. And therefore, the Ikar mitzvah of the menorah was at night time. They used to light them, and particularly according to Rashi. That's the difference of Rashi and the Rambam, by the way, but that's a whole story of its own. The darkness of the Golas can't affect the menorah, and therefore the menorah is the koyach which will bring Moshiach. It's beyond and over, and it cancels out completely the whole Golas. So we see then that there's a link. You're linking Aaron HaKohen way back at the moment when the first menorah was lit by Aaron, all the way through to Bias HaMashiach, and afterwards there's going to be this koyach in the hands of Aaron HaKohen to overcome darkness. There's like an everlasting light, and that's the power of Mashiach, and that's hidden for the time being, but it's going to be revealed. It's already revealed in the lights of Chanukah. The lights of Chanukah have in themselves a hidden light called Oyer Gonus, similar to the hidden light at the beginning of the Bria, and that's the light of Mashiach. That's according to those opinions. So we see that the plot thickens, that in the menorah and around, so B'derech HaDrush, and B'derech HaPnimius, not B'derech HaPshat, we could say that is what was the comfort of Aaron, that he grasped that all these things were there in the menorah. He was comforted, even though he didn't have any part of the actual Korbanos brought by the Nasi. This Indian.
Do you want a cup of water?
Oh, okay. No, it's not going to help anymore. So, this Indian finds a further build-up, and it sort of moves into a further gear. In that, the Medrash Tanchuma in Parashat Tetzaveh, not here, but in Parashat Tetzaveh, in reference to the menorah, the Medrash Tanchuma tells a story about Rabbi Chanina Sgan HaKoyanim. Rabbi Chanina Sgan HaKoyanim, he's mentioned in the Gemara Masechet Pesachim, and there's a big sugya, famous sugya, which is called Rabbi Chanina Sgan HaKoyanim. Over here it just tells a story about him, because he was alive and he served in the Beis HaMikdash before the second destruction. So he writes like this, and he says that Omar Rabbi Chanina Sgan HaKoyanim, he said, I was Mesharis in the Beis HaMikdash, and he said, I saw several times that the menorah, and particularly the Ner Marovi, the west, so-called west light, it's a question which light that was, but it was called the Ner Marovi. He said that burnt me Rosh Hashanah ad Rosh Hashanah. There were certain lights in the menorah that didn't need to be relit, because they just burnt from one Rosh Hashanah to the other. He said, Ani Roisi. He said he himself saw that. And then he tells another story that he said, Pam, Loi Matsu Shemen Zayis. I couldn't find Shemen Zayis of the right Madriga that was for the menorah. And Hayu Akoinim, Shebaisom Hamishmeiras, at that time in the Beis HaMikdash, that they were on those watches, the Kohanim, Hayu Boichim. They were crying that They're not going to have the Shemin, or they'll have the Shem, but they won't have the right Shemin's eyes to light the menorah. He said, "Menorah tol kol eisas man." The menorah just burnt the whole time, and they had no problem. So come along certain great Achrayim, and they learned from that we see that the menorah was an amazing thing, and for the menorah to burn a long time, maybe even a whole year, without needing to be relit, was a common thing, not an unusual, not a strength. So we see that there's this very amazing power in the menorah, a very deep inner quality in the menorah that it just kept, as it were, burning without end. And it was a common miracle. So the nest that happened on Hanukkah is not so surprising. It's a nest, but there have been such things before. And till some people ask, what was the big chiddush of Hanukkah? So we have to say the chiddush of Hanukkah was it came after so much sorrows and after, the Abisha had a tremendous, how do you call it, affection after the whole Beis HaMikdash had been ruined by the Yavanim. It started all over again. It's like a new covenant of love with the Jewish people. It's a new freshness in the menorah. That's why we celebrate Hanukkah. It's in fact that the menorah would burn a long time is not a new thing. That's what certain people learn from the story that Rabbi Chanina's Gan HaKohanim told. And they come over and they moise a further thing. And they say, Dvar Pili was most Pili place. And they say, based on a portion of the Zohar Kodesh, or Midrash Nelam, they say that when the Goyim came into the Beis HaMikdash, it was already getting towards the evening. As the Gemara says. According to the Zohar Kodesh and Smashim in the Gemara, the Kohanim that were then in the Beis HaMikdash, they refused to leave the Beis HaMikdash. And they kept doing everything they could possibly do to keep the avodah of the Beis HaMikdash going, even though they knew the Goyim were outside. They knew the Goyim were coming. And they knew they were going to come in. But until the last moment, they kept everything going. At Achim Kain, when did they light the menorah? In the late afternoon. That's when the menorah was lit. You remember, they lit the menorah before the Goyim actually got into the Heichal. So, there's differing opinions in the Gemara Masechta Yuma. There's differing opinions as to what actually happened to all the Klalli Hamikdash. Some say that the Goyim got home and took them away in Bais Rishon, they took to the bowl. Well, that appears pretty, well, some of them for sure they did. Some in Yoram they got. In Bais Sheni, some say the Romans got them, some say different. There's one opinion that a lot of the Klalli Hamikdash were hidden under certain stones in the Azorah, that they actually, and there's even one opinion that when the Goyim came in, they tried to get that the menorah and the Oren, they were swallowed up they swallowed into the ground, under the Beis HaMikdash, and the Goyim couldn't get up. There are differing opinions about it. So even to this day, there are differing opinions about the whole thing. According to that opinion. Now the amazing thing is that when I get to the Oren HaKodesh, the Rambam brings in Hilchos Beis HaBechira, the Rambam paskins clearly that in the time of Yoshiyahu HaMelech, when he was 180 years before the Churban Bais Rishon, and he was a very firm king, Yoshiyahu. He was a tzaddik, Yoshiyahu. Yoshiyahu HaMelech foresaw that something was going to happen in the Beis HaMikdash. He saw that even 180 years before it happened, and he ordered the Aron to be hidden down underneath the Beis HaMikdash, and the Rambam brings that there were underneath the Beis HaMikdash, there were these tremendously complex, like descending abysses that you could follow all the way down to a very deep place. And that Yoshiao Melech told certain Kohanim they should take the Aron HaKodesh and they should hide it down there. And that's where it is at Yom Hazeh. Azot Rambam. Which follows that the Aron HaKodesh is still in the Beis HaMikdash. It's just it's hidden underneath where it used to be. With all sorts of caves and hidden ways down very, very deep. It's hidden. So there are certain opinions that are open again to the menorah, a similar idea. Yeah. But it was just sort of swallowed up on this one. So they want a toner. I saw this brought down, and I say from the Divriyah, not the previous, the one before, the Sotna, the Bayim. So he brings it down. He writes it in a very interesting way. And he says, according to certain, those opinions, just before the Goyim got to the menorah, it disappeared, but it was burning. So he said, according to this Medrash HaNelam in the Zohar, it's burning ad Yom Hazeh. That the menorah, where it is hidden, is burning the whole time. But the lights of the menorah are burning the whole time, because they're burning because they're waiting for the Ner, which is going to, as it were, relight them and re-represent them, which is Moshiach. Moshiach is going to be another Madrega Ner, like we pointed out, but he's going to be a higher Madrega, and they're waiting for him to join in with his Ner. But the menorah is still burning. And there's different svarim that hold this way. Now, well, it's an amazing idea. Kumte said the menorah is hidden somewhere under the Beis HaMikdash, just like the Oren is, and the Rambam Paskin tell Behaaloschah that the Oren is still nimta, the Torah Beis HaMikdash. Kumte said the menorah is hidden and it's still burning. How could it possibly be? It's not a case of the menorah burnt for whole years anyway, so it can burn for thousands of years. What does it mean? Now we understand, according to that, we get some picture of why Hashem said to Aaron that yours is greater. This is B'terach Hadrus, not B'terach Hapshat. Why yours is greater than all the other? Because you're going to be just forever with the menorah and with the nerves of the menorah, because the menorah is going on forever. Even more than what the Ramban said. The Ramban says like according to this, it's burning the whole time. Now that'll lead up with what the next pasuk says, that Behaaloschah, so not the next pasuk, but one of the next Rashis. Rashi, what does it mean? Behaaloschah es haneres, that Aaron had to light each light in such a way that he didn't take away the light until the nail was, how do you call it, burning upwards on its own, until it would shalhivas oilo mi aleho, till the flame was going up on its own, burning independently. Then he knew he'd lit the light. No, he just didn't make a little touch with a little flame, but he had to wait until it was burning clearly independently on its own. And then, so there's many great pirushim in that over the generation. Oilo mi aleho, you had to wait till the aner. Anyway, one of the pirushim that I saw, certain of the great svarim, is something else is on the floor there. The whole thing on the floor. And they learn like this. They learn an amazing thing. That when the Kohen lit the lights of the menorah, what happened was, it was similar to what happened on the Mizbeach. On the Mizbeach, is written the Kohen had to light their fire with their wood on the Mizbeach, and then there came down fire from heaven and joined the wood. So they want to learn that what happened with the menorah is exactly the same. That the Kohen had to start lighting the wick. But once he lit the wick, then there was a me'eleho, there was like an automatic thing happened, and that wasn't just a natural thing, but that was like divine fire coming down from heaven and taking over. Which means that the actual lighting of the menorah was l'mayla me'ateva, in a very delicate way, similar to what it was on the Mizbeach, but with an even more sort of touching aspect to it, that it just burnt the whole time, like that. And I remember the whole flames of the menorah, even on an ordinary day, they had in them a divine light. They had a touch of divinity, that light was a divine light. The fire was only like an Isserus de la Tata, they call it a Royal de Milamata, but the etzem burning was an Isserus de la Ela Mia Kodesh Baruch. And now the menorah is an amazing thing. The menorah is an amazing koyach of Lamayla Me'ateva. That's what Aaron was, when he was told that that's what's going to happen, then he, that caused in him an achoma. And that's the waiting for Mashiach, the power that some people want to say that the fact that the menorah is still burning away there, inside there, wherever it's hidden, that's the koyach that's holding hidden in the Golas, and that's the koyach that's going to bring Mashiach. And it's linked with all sorts of the details. I can't go into all the details, we have to talk for hours, but that's killed the message, which means, like the Medrash Rabbah begins, that the whole inner of the menorah is really Ma'ain, the Gilui of Mashiach, and it's like the Gilui is Mamish. It's Mamish Kacha. And that the whole inner Mashiach is connected with this concept of light. And he's like the divine light that's going to come after our making our of it. So the Rebbe's point is that Yidden have already made a lot of effort. So the moment has come for the divine light to take over. And then the menorah can and will reappear. So that's like a brief, which follows Lafizeh, that there was a continuous divinity in the lighting of the candles. And then it would be understandable what Rabbi Zgana Kohenim told, Karnina Zgana Kohenim, that he saw, and that's talking about late in Bayis Sheni, right near the end of Bayis Sheni, he saw how the menorah at certain times burnt the whole year. It just went the whole year without stop. Why? Because the Eibishter was involved in it. Each snare, Kiddo, had a certain divine aspect about it. And then it would make good sense, the whole Indian. And that Indian, the same has got to do with Avedas Hashem, each and every one of us. That when we help another Yid and we stir up another Yid and everything, we have to hold the light until such time that the flame will go up on its own. He'll have the koyach to go ahead on his own. He'll have enough koyach, and he'll have enough inspiration to do things with his own. But it's not on his own. He'll have divine help, and Hashem will be with him. And that's the whole Indian of knowing that Avedas Hashem, we have to do our own bit, but ultimately it's all from Hashem also. And that's what's pointed out in many of the Drushim in Lakutei Torah. The Alter Rebbe points out that even though you have Avedas Hashem, and let's say you get Avos Hashem or Yiras Hashem, or really it all comes from Almighty. Both things are true. You have to do it, and that's hidden in this whole thing with the lighting of the light. You had to light, but then they came with a limelight. So that's Adkan. That's better the Indian in a general way, what we might call away from Drush. But the Rebbe comes on in that famous Sikha, and I'll just give a very brief view of the whole Indian. And the Rebbe, with his unbelievable quirk of analysis, the Rebbe comes differently at the whole Indian. And the Rebbe's point is that Aaron Lechora was there in the Chanukah. He was there in the Chanukah with all the Nasim. And he says, if you go back to the day that the Mishkan was put up, which was Rosh Chodesh Nisan, then in Pasha Shmini, Rashi brings that the main avoid of that day was done by Moshe Rabbeinu. That was a temporary instruction by Moshe. He was like the Kohen God at that time. But the Rebbe said it's mashmi is that once they finished all the korbanos in the morning, and maybe even the Korban Tomit, then Aaron HaKohen took over things that he had to do, leading to the next day, which would mean, and even on the first day of the Chanukas, Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Aaron already lit the lights. As if he already lit the lights, then he was with these guys anyway. I mean, he was Elamai. What was his problem? Yeah, his problem was that they bought a special one-time thing as like a gift and a preparation to give the Mizbeach Koyat to Mashiach. What Aaron did on the first day, he did it by way of Chanukah. The first time it was ever done by him. And that what Moshe Rabbeinu did was also the first time it was done actually after the Mishkan had been officially put up, was Aaron did it. And as he's the same as all the others. He did the first time and they did the first, they bought the first Korbanah. But the Rebbe said there's a difference. What Aaron HaKohen did was later done. It was like a normal event, in inverted commas, for the first time. Over they bought a korban which was purely an initiation. Afterwards, those korbanos were never offered again. In other words, they did that purely to start the whole thing going. It's like a special Chanukah. And Aaron HaKohen, even though he did do his bit together with them at the beginning, he also did the first lighting of the lights in the Beis HaMikdash. But it's like a beginning, but it's a permanent thing. Mashiach, they did a wondrous beginning, which was a beginning. It was like a giving of a special gift. It's like a Chanukah in its real sense. And Aaron HaKohen, felt that his thing wasn't a real Chanukah, even though it was the first time. They say, oh, the Rebbe builds the argument, it's amazing. And that's why Chol Shadaita, that one shot to say Chol Shadaita, that he was really involved in it with them, but it wasn't quite the same. And therefore he got a bit upset. Well, it was something apart from him altogether. It's not really sad to become upset. But he was anyway involved in it, but in the Chanukah, but it was a different type of Chanukah. And the Rebbe said, and that's what the Eibusha comforted him. And the Eibusha said, you light the Neres, that there's something hidden in the Neres, that even though you've done it the first time around, it's always going to be done. There's a tremendous mile in that. There's a siman of permanency and newness at the same time. And permanency and newness at the same time have a tremendous dearness about them, because when you have a new thing that was only just new and then afterward it goes, so it has a novelty to it that was like a giving of power. But when you do something which is both new and it's going to stay forever, that there's a certain mile. And that's what Rashi, he doesn't go into the whole historical business, Rashi just says, Shatam Madlikas Aner. And so therefore, if you just think for a moment about the Neres, then you see that the Neres are something which was always going to be in the Beis HaMikdash. It has the mile of both permanency and newness at the same time. And so the Rebbe makes a whole tremendous Indian in that was like Aaron's mistake. Aaron thought it was like a sort of a bit of a letdown in that. And therefore, Aaron felt that since it was going to be a continuous thing, it didn't have the newness of power. It couldn't sort of really, therefore the Rebbe builds a whole case that the menorah, the Alter Rebbe says in Lekutei, in this week's Parsha, it's had 7 lights, that's the 7 midas that there are by Yidden, and the 7 lights represent the different types of neshama. And each neshama has got its own particular midah, its own particular birah. And remember, the neshamas of the Yidden are in the lights of the menorah. That's represents the neshama. And remember, Aaron felt that his Chanukah, the first thing he did, was only good for those who are going to be always the way they should be. It's going to be a permanent Aveda, and there's nothing particularly new about it, even though it was the first time. But it's only going to be good for those who are going to always be part of the permanent system. I think these other people, they bought something new altogether. Maybe that might be able to help with somebody who's dropped down a bit. So therefore the Rebbe said that, Aaron was concerned, what about people who are a little bit not the way they should be? He's not going to be able to reach them. He's not going to, and that's what the Abish are going to say. No, the Neros have a power, that they have the smile of permanency, meaning that even if a Yid looks as if he's not permanent, he really is. And there's a depth of permanency and lastingness in a Yid that you can reach under any circumstances. And that Aaron HaKohen also, he has an ability not just to reach the people who are always permanently good, he's got the people to reach them. And then the Rebbe makes an amazing point at the end. It's the same way each and every one of us, we meet another Yid, then we know that we're meeting a Ner from the Beis HaMikdash. And even though he may not look at the moment to have any Ner burning, the message is that he has the permanent Ner burning, that Aaron HaKohen, it's a permanent Ner, just you don't see it maybe. All you got to do is just, take action, and then that, if you do that, then the divine light that used to be in the Ner will take over, and it'll be a Ner ha'olami aleah. And you shouldn't worry if you're seeing another Jew that he doesn't look, but that's for sure that he does have his Ner. And who lit that Ner and who gives that koach? Aaron HaKohen. And that's beyond just new things that help people to get all stirred up. It's it follows that Aaron's Ika Aveda was that he reaches to the hidden permanency of a Jew that never changes. And the Korbanos and the Nasim was more for things that stir people up in a special way and get them started in what appears to be a new way. But ultimately, it also needs the koach of the menorah. It needs the koach of Aaron, which is the permanency. And Aaron learned that slightly wrongly, and therefore Chol Shaddai, he had a sort of weakness of mind, even though he understood that he was part of the Chanukah, he was, but he had a weakness of mind because it didn't sort of fit in. And therefore the Eibush is in Chayecho, the Eibush is in the form of an oath, which an oath is l'mayla mitam v'das, as we know. An oath is only when you, that's like a giving a power into Aaron that he should realize that in that permanency he can bring out the greatest revelation. And he's got to take it in the form of a oath, l'mayla mitam v'das. And that's why the Eibush said to him, Chayecha. As in the earlier part of the Shiur, we learn about Derech Drush, it's also like that, because the way that the Neros of Chanukah, for example, became revealed is also through Mesiras Nefesh. And Mesiras Nefesh is like the oath that the Jewish people took to the Eibush.